morning, I'm Keisha Butts with the CTV News Update. Well, 3 men have been indicted for the murder of 8-year-old Peyton Evans. George Shaman and 2 brothers, Desmond and Mark Nkwocha, have been charged with murder, attempted murder, and assault. They're accused of killing Evans while he was playing video games in a Landover apartment last month.
The police department did a thorough investigation. We had a lot of information and evidence that our office received from the department. We also were able to conduct a separate investigation and present information to our grand jury. So we feel pretty confident that these are the individuals responsible, and we will seek justice.
Meantime, Dominique Johnson was indicted yesterday for a shooting that happened in Bladensburg the day before Evans was murdered. Brave Boy says the individuals involved in the Evans case were also involved in the Bladensburg incident. Despite the county's best efforts to keep COVID-19 out of schools, the elusive disease is making its way through the district. Since the start of the school year, there have been more than 200 coronavirus cases reported. Suitland High School, Flowers High School, and Spring Hill Lake Elementary are among the 41 schools that have reported multiple cases. This week, the district began random pool testing of students regardless of vaccine status or whether they are showing symptoms. Meantime, the state today reported more than 1,300 new COVID-19 cases and 14 deaths. Governor Larry Hogan announces a series of steps to help address a critical shortage of nurses in Maryland. The steps include allowing nurses licensed out of state to work in Maryland and encouraging nursing programs to speed up graduations for qualified students. That option includes shortening the final 4 to 6 weeks of the semester by transitioning to more intensive full-day class sessions. The measures come as the state has seen a rise in hospitalized COVID-19 patients over the past month, driven by the more infectious Delta variant. You're watching CTV News. I'm Keisha Butts. Coming up, Prince George's celebrates African Heritage Month. The story after the break.
Find out how to use an awkward silence to help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back. It was a picture-perfect day in our region as the county and international leaders gathered for a special proclamation. Today, County Executive Angela Alsobrooks proclaimed the month of September as African Heritage Month for Prince George's. Immigrants from several African countries were on hand for the celebration, which included the Liberian ambassador to the U.S., George Patton. The theme for the event was the African immigrant representation, identity, and diversity.
This is such an important day as we celebrate African heritage in Prince George's County. I can't think of any better place in this country to celebrate African Heritage Day than in Prince George's County. Couldn't be any more appropriate place for us to honor the many, many contributions of Africans in the African diaspora community, not only here in Prince George's County, but in the state and across this country. Is that we have certainly been made richer and we have been made better off because of the many contributions of the African diaspora community.
Alsobrooks pointed out that 40% of all business owners in the county are of African descent. A U.S. Senate panel advances the nomination of Eric Barrons for Maryland U.S. Attorney. Barrons, a Prince George's delegate, is among a slate of nominees the Senate Judiciary Committee voted on yesterday. If confirmed by the full Senate, Barrons would be the first Black U.S. Attorney in Maryland's history. Barrons served as counsel and policy advisor to President Biden from 2007 to 2009. The Prince George's delegate currently represents District 24. An off-duty Montgomery County police officer rescues a woman and a teenager from a burning car in downtown Bethesda. The officer was traveling along Montgomery Avenue and East-West Highway just before 7 p.m. last night when he saw a car that had crashed into a tree. The officer pulled over and put out the flames with a fire extinguisher and then cut the driver's seat belt to free the woman from the car. The teenager was also rescued. Police say the driver may have lost control of the car. Both the woman and the teenager were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A Prince George's police officer is suspended without pay for allegedly pointing his gun at a motorist while off duty. Corporal James Thornley was reportedly involved in a road rage incident in Annapolis back on August 26. Thornley was traveling home when he got into an argument with a female motorist and pulled out his department-issued weapon. Arrested by Annapolis police, Thornley faces assault and weapons charges. Montgomery County student math and literacy scores plummet after a year of virtual classes. The scores of Black, Hispanic, and low-income students dropped about 40% compared with pre-pandemic years. Special education students or those in English language learner programs also struggled to meet basic standards. The data presented to the school board this week focused on 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th grades, which are usually considered key transition years for students. Landmark legislation passed this year in the Maryland General Assembly approving state funding for private home detention fees. These are fees that defendants must pay in order to be released on home detention. The legislation was meant to provide relief for defendants who are low-income wage earners. Many of these individuals have been released during the pandemic to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Public Defender Todd Oppenheim says these individuals are on pretrial, presumed innocent, while the court system tries to handle its backlog of cases since the shutdown.
So it opens the door to people who judges would have been willing to release and couldn't afford it, and people who are struggling, who are out because people have been on it over a year while their cases are pending. And so there's this pot of money out there now, $5 million, but no procedure in place to access the funds. They were supposed to be available July 1st. We pushed for an earlier date rather than October 1st because people really need relief, and there's no process in place. There's just this promise now. There's discussions going on that moved over to the judiciary as to how they're going to hand out the money. We're really pleased with the legislation, but we're really disappointed that the funds aren't available. People are really struggling, and it's extremely frustrating knowing that there's a law in place saying this money needs to be allocated and given out, and we can't access it.
Oppenheim says home detention fees are not cheap. There's usually a startup fee of about $100 as well as a disconnect charge. Plus fees run $10 to $20 a day for most people, and the first 2 weeks are due up front. Still to come on CTV News, the Terps get ready for the Golden Flashes, plus some local cops try their hand at rhythm and blues. Stay with us.
A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Thank you for staying with us. The city of Laurel is losing a veteran council member. Valerie Nicholas is leaving office this fall. The council member says she won't seek re-election in November. Nicholas is the first African-American woman to serve on the city council and the first to serve as council president. While go-go music for many is the sound of the DMV, for a group of local officers, that familiar sound of funk, soul, and R&B is part of the job. They call themselves the Rhythm and Blues Band, PGPD.
The first band that we had, I believe, was in 1991. The idea came from actually what MPDC was doing with the side-by-side band, and they've been doing that for years. I mean, I just turned 60 years old Sunday, and they were doing it when I was in elementary school. Some experience, whether it was some local groups, and we played in high school, college.
Started on tables and cubby holes at school and cars, but buckets. So I've been playing since like 8 or 9 years old. Nation was an old band that I played with. We opened up for a lot of the famous bands like Dockyard Band and Junkyard Band and things like that.
Played in Lincoln University, which is where I went to school. I played in Taste the Soul. I played a little bit of percussion with Belladonna. I played for various people as well as at church. It was a family thing. I just picked it up. My aunt plays pretty much everything. My father plays the bass guitar and the drums. My cousin plays the drums and the organ. It was just a family trait that I picked up, me being as young as I was at 10. My father would go to rehearsals, and I would always be there, and I just picked up.
I think the Congo beat is it's the heartbeat of the music. When you hear those congos, if anybody know go-go, when they hear that Congo beat, they know that's the heartbeat of the whole band.
Go-go is, of course, you know, that's being from the DC area. Everybody in DC is go-go oriented, shall I say. And I used to play in a go-go band too, back in, tell you how long ago, 78, 79, group called Conscience.
It's something that gets you moving. It's just something that you just feel in your soul. And when you hear it, you have no, I don't care what kind of day you're having. You go hear some go-go, you just gonna say, hey, you put it in the pocket. It's just something about go-go. It's just DC home. That's all it is. It's DC home.
So when I was in elementary school, I'm from DC, and they had the side-by-side band. And they actually came to our school and they played. And I was amazed because I used to listen to the music that they were playing. And they sounded just like the music on the radio. So I thought police officers were cool ever since I saw them do that. So I hope we get that same impression with the young folks that we encounter with.
The band recently got back together. Its first performance will be on October 9th at the Oxon Hill Police Station. Sports news, the Golden Flashes are coming to town. The Kent State Golden Flashes will take on the Maryland Terps football team in College Park tomorrow. The Terps go into the contest undefeated. Head coach Mike Loxley says junior defense back Nick Cross has played a big role so far this year.
He's one of those guys that came in, really heralded, coming playing right down the road at DeMatha. Has been pretty much a starter since the time he got on campus. Really pleased with his progress, where he is, and even more pleased that he's starting to develop the leadership that you want to see out of a third-year guy that's played a lot of football around here.
Just, communication, getting guys lined up, making sure everybody knows that, never get too high, never get too low, always just keep a neutral profile. Things are going to go well, things are going to go badly. At the end of the day, keep playing the next play like nothing happened before that. Continue to play, don't watch the scoreboard. Forget about the play that happened before, forget about the play that happened 3 plays before. Just continue to, good or bad, continue to keep playing.
He has a tremendous skill set with his range and size, and I think the thing that's really kind of showed up this year for us is just how physical he is when he makes contact. He's running through people. He's doing a great job of being a physical presence in the deep third of the field for us, and now he's showing that he can make the play in the air. When the ball's in the air, he's been able to go get a couple picks.
I watch a lot of film, making sure that where you can pick your spots, testing things out of practice, making sure that you know your limitations so that you go in the game, it's not, brand new. Try different things. What does work, you do, and whatever doesn't work, you just don't do. So, just go about it like that. Continue to prepare and continue to get better every single day.
The Terps and Golden Flashes kick off at 3:30 tomorrow. Let's get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, clear with a low around 53. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 77. Sunday and Monday, sunny with highs in the mid to upper 70s. And now for the community calendar, bring your young ones out to enjoy a classic flick. The city of Bowie is hosting a free outdoor movie this Friday at Allen Pond Park. Tonight's featured film is Remember the Titans. Bring your lawn chair and blanket, and the movie starts at 7:30 p.m. For more information, call 240-508-3881. And that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Keisha Butts. Have a good night and have a good weekend.